Here we have the bow, well, I should say the bowsprit and the bow. You can see that I've got it rigged. There's a, got the rig, got some rigging blocks on the bowsprit, double dolphin strike right there, and the chain going from the center of those dolphin strikers all the way down to the hull, the bow of the hull. And I got some lashing around the bowsprit, and the bowsprit tied off there right through the that little brass ring. And then of course now I'm going to move on down to the the anchors. I purchased these anchors off a line somewhere, and I do know I need some to do some touch up here and there. So try not to nick me too bad on that. But there's the cat head. I actually built those cat heads myself, and those rigging blocks on the cat head right there. They are, let's see if I can get a better look. Have them right there like that. They're actually beads. I bought those from probably Walmart. And they're really small glass beads, and I thought they looked really fantastic for the purpose I was using them on the cat heads. Bought those ladders. Now those ladders, I bought them, they were 15mm ladders, and I thought that was the height, but in fact I believe what it was the width of the, which was perfect. It turned out perfect as far as the 15mm width, but a little closer in there on there. But the ladder was, I bought two of these ladders, and they were probably about 6 inches long. And truthfully, if I would have known that they were that long, I would have never bought two of them. So it cost me a little money on that, but not a big deal. You'll see in some of the screenshots that those still shots that I have, that the foredeck actually had handrails, or at least posts, put in them at one time, and that's no longer the case. What I did was I took off the old foredeck that I built and replaced it because those handrails or posts weren't working out. And then you get that that ramp going up to the foredeck. I built that by hand myself, and then you got the chain guides. The chain, I went with a black chain instead of a gold or brass looking chain to the anchors. Just simply, back to the windlass, just simply because I thought, you're looking at iron and heavy usage back in the Colonial day, which this kind of is more representative of a Colonial ship. So I thought black would really set it off. And then I got the bell housing. Now bell housing I made myself, and I bought the bell, but let's see if I can get over here behind it, just to give you a good look on it, and all that. So, and then of course you got the grating right there. I put that grating down really to match. There wasn't going to be any grating right there, but in this area, when I painted that grating black right there, it just made sense to go ahead, and if I was going to put any more grating on it, to go ahead and make it the same style, and it looks fantastic together. And those companionways basically were just blocks of wood on the deck originally, and I decorated them with some planking and some border wood and roofing. Some those white planks right there is the roof. And there's the holes I drilled for the mast. They were there in the sub deck, but when I planked the deck, she needed it them re-drilled. There was a steering wheel sitting on that little pylon right there on top of that planking. Oh, excuse me, that grating. But I knocked it off. It didn't break. I just knocked it off. And since I'm working on some things that are really delicate, I left it off until it's time to put it back on. So I got some deck work. And here we have, and this is the same with the other side, those are for the davits for the lifeboat back there. I'm going to have a lifeboat off the starboard side, a lifeboat off on davits on the port side, and then one lifeboat right there on that center grating to set everything off. And right here, this is where I got my my blocks. They're all set in the channels, ready to roll. And I got this set of blocks right here. They're sitting there ready to roll. You can tell that she's very rustic looking, and it took me a little bit to figure out how to actually paint her that way. I wanted her to look, like she's been used, but with a just with an updated paint job, and I think I've really accomplished that. I don't know if you can see. You see how I got those nicks in the wood. These stringers that I have right here, they weren't original, but when I chewed, I took a chisel to the original stringers, and I did chalk some wood out. And what I did was that's where I got the idea to just kind of, instead of sanding all that out, to go ahead and make her look really, really rustic. And I think I've really accomplished that. You see that wood grain coming through right there. All that was left on purpose, and some of that distress look I actually created myself just to set it off that way. I don't know. She looks how I want her to look. And there ain't nothing wrong with that. So you can see that I got on the bowsprit on the yard arm here, holes drilled through it. Same with the dolphin strikers. Yes, there's a lot of touch-up paint that needs to happen, like right there. I need to paint that. I'm waiting for me to get a little bit further along before I start touching up the paint. Matter of fact, down here near the rudder, there's some paint I need to update. That I had to use clamps, and they had a little white powder on that, and when I removed the clamp, that powder just stuck into the paint. But right here's the rudder. I was telling you that about the rudder. See if I can get in closer. You can see the planking on it. There again, I distressed the. Got a little. I didn't even see that. Got a little touch of paint to do right there. But I tried to make that as rustic as I could. Put those hinges on, those runner hinges, and I put this chain on. That's a pretty good shot of the chain right there. And there's the hole in the stern that there was a post that went through there and connected to the top part of this rudder, and I removed that. I was going to keep it, but then I chose not to. But here is the stand. Let me back up. There we go. There she is. But let me show you the stand. I got some pictures, some still shots, but you see this? That is just absolutely gorgeous. Bought those from Ages of Sail. Unfortunately, they're plastic. That's what I don't like about them. These big, huge things are plastic. These nautical dolphins. They had some bronze ones, but they were expensive. And I was trying to keep the cost down. Most of the material that I've used on here, except for the parts like the blocks, the grating, the ladders, anchors, and all that. Most of the stuff I already had. It was just wood that I had laying around, and I've applied it. What I'm working on now is the cannon wall. This right here was not going to have cannons. I wasn't going to have the Christopher Joe have cannons, but then I changed my mind when I found some off of eBay that I just absolutely couldn't refuse. They were at a decent price. There was 12 of them. I wanted to make the configuration of this ship, instead of a sloop, I wanted it to be a brig. So that changes the mast configuration, and it's a brig of war, which generally has 12 to 14 cannons on it. So, but this is the Christopher Joe. I hope you like it. If there's any questions you have about a specific part of the ship, I know I was just showing you the port side, but you can tell I still got that rustic look on this side, but I mirrored as much as I possibly could the efforts I did on the port side on the starboard side, or vice versa, and I'm quite pleased the way she's turning out. This is my first wooden ship. I decided to take an old antique pond boat and turn her into a Colonial two-masted vessel, which is going. I'm trying to make her into a brig of war. So there she is. If anybody, I would like to hear from people, make comments, suggestions. Obviously, that I've got her this far. Anything you see, I'm probably not going to rip out, but I'll take suggestions. I can always learn something. I'm kind of new at wooden models. I've done plastic models before. But this right here, I've built most of everything on my own. And hopefully the still shots that I show will show that as well. So anyway, that's the Christopher Joe. And stay tuned for more videos on the continuation of this build.